welcome to the 4-H FFA Meat Goat Show, which will start with the Unified Showing Sheep Show. They are doing practice warm-up. Again, welcome to the Lancaster County Super Fair 4-H FFA Meat Goat Show, which is starting with the Unified Showing Sheep Club for youth with disabilities. Actually, I'm beginning to think they're not doing the warm-up, they're doing the actual ring. Okay, they are still practicing. This is not the actual class.
Hello everyone, welcome to the 2025 Lancaster County Super Fair. We are so excited to be starting off our Meat Goat Show here with the Unified Showmanship here in a couple minutes. Before we get started, we want to introduce our judge to you today. We are joined by Kristen Hiesemeyer, who is originally from Taylor, Texas, where she and her family own and operate a show cattle and cow-calf operation focused on Maine and Jew, Hereford, and Limousin genetics. She's currently a senior and member of the livestock judging team at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Kristen started her collegiate judging career at Conner State College in Warner, Oklahoma. She currently works with the American Gelding Association in member services and communications, and previously interned with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and American Shorthorn Association. Let's all welcome our Judge Kristen here today. And while we're waiting just a couple minutes, we want to remind everyone, not only did we celebrate poultry at the poultry show this morning, but you can also celebrate them at the Chicken Dinner fundraiser tomorrow night. The Lancaster County 4-H Council is hosting the annual Chicken Dinner at the fair on Friday from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the South Hall near the Livestock Market Pavilion, formerly known as Pavilion 3. The dinner this year features slim chicken tenders. To-go containers are available, and all proceeds for the fundraiser support Lancaster County 4-H youth programs, activities, and scholarships. You can buy advanced sale tickets at the 4-H Clover Cafe in the Exciting Hall for $9 or buy them at the door for $10. Again, that's tomorrow from 5:30 to 7:30 at the South Hall near the Livestock Market Pavilion. Austin Walbrecht, and before we start with the Unified Showing Show, just quickly wanted to give everybody just a little bit of an overview over what it is. So Unified Showing is a program, and we're dedicated to empowering youth with disabilities through learning about and showing livestock. So we're really grateful that all of you could come out today for the rest of the show and also get to see this really special and exciting thing. So our kids have been working hard all summer to get ready for the fair, so they're excited to show you. But I also really quickly wanted to preface of why this year is so special for us. There's a couple different reasons. So this is our 6th year, and unfortunately our last run. As I'm going to be a senior at UNL in the fall, I'm just unable to continue doing the program anymore. So this is the last year, so it holds a special place in my heart as well. And the second reason, if you look at any of our shirts below, it says Forever Loving and Missing Our Sweet Olivia. 6 months ago, we lost Olivia. She was one of our original showmen who built this program from the ground up with me. She was the best cheerleader with the biggest smile and best laugh for every single showman, every single buddy, and even the lambs, even when sometimes they didn't really need a cheerleader. And so we're excited to be able to do this here in her honor and in her memory. And it means a lot that all of you get to do that with us. So, like I said, we're excited to be able to come out here and show all of you what we've been doing. I'm really grateful for this county. This is where I grew up showing cattle my entire life. So this is where we started Unified Showing. So it's really fitting that this is where we're going to end it too. So thank you.
What is your name?
My name is Josh.
What is your lamb's name?
Luigi.
What is your favorite thing about Luigi?
Hey, hey.
Good job. Hi. What is your name?
My name is Patty.
What is your lamb's name?
My name is Fishman.
And what is your favorite thing about fishing?
Good
Good job, thank you. Hi, what is your name? Thank you. What is your lamb's name? What is your favorite thing about Billy? Wow, good job. Well, this is a really special program you have going on out here. I know we kind of hosted a similar event in our county that I was really involved with, so it definitely holds a special place in my heart. Just a big shout out to these kids for putting in the effort to come out here today, and they've clearly put a lot of effort into it, and they just did a really great job. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you guys.
We'll go ahead and do a first and second call for senior meat goat showmanship. First and second call, senior meat goat showmanship. Final call, senior meat goat showmanship. Final call, senior meat goat showmanship. Just a reminder before our senior showmen enter the ring, our champion senior meat goat showman will be eligible to compete in the Elite Showmanship Contest on Sunday, August 3rd at 5 p.m. right here in this arena. The senior meat goat showman will be joined by the senior sheep showman champion, senior swine champion for showmanship, senior beef, and also senior dairy goat champion. Again, that is Sunday at 5 p.m. We'll do a first call for intermediate meat goat showmanship. First call, intermediate meat goat showmanship. Second call, intermediate meat goat showmanship. Second call, intermediate meat goat showmanship.
Well, I know we don't just have a huge group of senior showmen out here in our meat goat show, but I do think they're all doing a really good job. I think there's definitely very different styles of showmanship out here, but consistently I think we're all doing a good job of making sure our animals are set correctly and being shown off the best of their abilities. That being said, I'll go show you the two I like.
Congratulations to Chloe Cutler, your champion senior meat goat showman. And reserve champion goes to Emma Thompson. We will see Chloe on Sunday for the elite showmanship representing the meat goat species. Next in the ring and final call will be our intermediate meat goat showmanship. Following that, we'll have our first call for junior meat goat showmanship. Also, if you're following along in your program, following the junior showmanship, we will have our Clover Kids showmanship. So if we have any Lancaster County Clover Kids in the audience that would like to grab an exhibitor and their goat and try their hand in the show ring, we would love to see them test out showing a goat here at the Lancaster County Fair after junior showmanship. Entering the ring next, we have our intermediate meat goat showmanship. And we'll do a second call for junior meat goat showmanship. Second call, junior meat goat showmanship.
Thank you for bearing with me when I figured out the placing system that we're doing over here. But I think this is a really great group of intermediate showmen because I think they all have different strengths and they all did a really good job. So I'm going to leave them right as they are. So to start with the young lady up front, I think she has the best combination of doing a really good job when she had her goat on the move, having the right kind of intensity and focus. And then when she gets into set, I think she does the best job of pulling him together from the side. Even when he wasn't wanting to work with her as much on the move, I think he did a really good job of kind of maintaining his cool, making sure he looked good the whole time. Next I have this young man with the brown goat, and I felt like he did a really good job in terms of consistency. I think your animal was working with you really well, and you had a great job always having him set correctly and knowing all the information I asked you, so I commend you for that. Next, I think both of you did a really good job. I think maybe our partners weren't able to work with us quite as well. I really appreciate it, but I think when I asked how much they weighed or how old they were, you were the quickest. You immediately knew exactly what I was asking, so I appreciate that. And I also appreciate how even though your goat wasn't being the best teammate today, you really stuck with it and like kept her cool, which I really appreciate. So let's give a round of applause to these guys because they all did a really good job.
Congratulations to Mackenzie McCoy, our champion intermediate meat goat showman. And Ryan Henry is our reserve champion. Entering the ring next, we have our junior meat goat showman. And just one last quick reminder, if we have any Clover kids in the audience that would like to enter the ring, they need to find a goat and an exhibitor, and that will be after our junior showman. We've only got 2 entries, so that Clover Kid showmanship will be coming up quick.
Well, we're going to round out our meat goat showmen with the junior division, and I think these guys are both doing a really good job. They both clearly understand the fundamentals, and I look forward to seeing both of them down the road as they continue. I'm going to go ahead and start with the young man at the front. I know you're still wasn't necessarily wanting to walk the best, but I think just in terms of knowing where I am and maybe understanding how to make your dough look as good as possible, I think you're doing a really good job. I also appreciated that you really answered my question really efficiently and you're really personable, so good job with that. And then in second, I have this young lady who has a lovely smile, by the way, to start off with. And she and her goat are out here doing a great job. She always knew where I was and where she was supposed to be in relation to her animals, so let's give a round of applause to great showmen.
Congratulations to Henry Warner, our champion junior meat goat showman, and Sophie Andrzejewska as our reserve champion. Entering the ring next will be our Clover Kid showmanship. And then right after that, we move straight into our registered breeding show. So we'll do a first and second call for registered breeding doe kid. First and second call, registered breeding doe kid. We'll do a final call for registered breeding doe kid. Final call, registered breeding doe kid. Just in case you have any family or friends that would like to watch any of the shows of this year's Super Fair but weren't able to make it here to the event center, we do have a live stream going on. The QR code is listed on the blue sheet right behind the crow's nest.
Well, real quick before they exit the ring, Amy and Kinsey are out here with their goats, Ginger and Tim. And I just gotta say they're doing an awesome job. It's always fun to see the next generation of showmen out here, excited to be showing livestock and putting in the work. They both said that they were having fun and they were looking forward to showing goats in the future. So let's give these two a round of applause.
That concludes our showmanship portion of the Meat Goat Show, and we'll move right into the breeding portion. Next in the ring is our registered breeding doe kid, followed by our registered breeding doe yearlings. So we'll do a first and second call for that breeding doe yearling.
Well, I think this single entry is a great way to kick off our registered breeding doe show. I think the first thing you notice about this female after her striking appearance is that she's a really big-chested one, and I think that allows her to feel some really impressive body shape. As she gets out in motion, I think her hind leg is pretty functional. She definitely has plenty of comfort and range of motion. I don't know if it's just the most aesthetically pleasing in the set to her walk, but I don't think that'll be a concern long term. I look forward to seeing this one down the road.
Entering the ring now, we have our registered breeding doe yearling. And following that, we will have our champion and reserve champion registered breeding doe.
We've got another single entry in our breeding doe show, and I think this one's really impressive as well. She's another one that's big-chested, great body. I think her stoutness of skull in tandem with her extension up front is really impressive. I would love to see her just a little bit longer and leveler out of her hip. I think that would help her just be a bit more fluid and comfortable in motion. But again, I don't think that's a functionality concern long term, and I do think her power and look from the side is really impressive. Good job.
We're now moving on to our champion, reserve champion, registered breeding doe drive. We'll go ahead and do a first and second call for commercial breeding doe pig class 1. First and second call, commercial breeding doe pig class 1. Final call, commercial breeding doe pig class 1. Final call, commercial breeding doe pig class 1.
Well, I know we only had 2 entries over here in the registered doe show, but I think they're both impressive and they have strengths in their own right. The one up front, I think she has the upper hand structurally. She's a bit more comfortable in motion, and I appreciate just her image from the side. I think she's a bit more youthful and tucked up in her chest today. On the other hand, the older doe definitely has the advantage in terms of stoutness of feature, genuine width of chest, and the power that translates to through her body shape and out through her hip. I don't think there's definitively a right or wrong answer because they're both really good in their own right. For me today, I'm going to go with the older doe for grand and the younger doe for reserve, but good job to both of you.
Congratulations to Chloe Cutlers, receiving both champion and reserve champion for the registered breeding doe with the yearling reserving champ, and reserve goes to the kid. Entering the ring now will be the commercial breeding doe pig class 1. We'll go ahead and do a first and second call for commercial breeding doe pig class 2. First and second call, commercial breeding doe pig class 2. Final call, commercial breeding doe pig class 2. Final call, commercial breeding doe pig class 2.
Well, I think this is a great way to kick off our commercial doe show. The young ladies doe really suits me the best. I think when you study them from the front three-quarter shot, that one's width and squareness of chest and soundness of skull is definitely an outlier in this set. I think it's the highest quality and I think it's the best. And that follows back. She's the roundest in her body shape, the most powerful from behind. A really nice one to start off with. I thought I got really close between second and third because I think their strengths kind of complement each other. The young man I ultimately had in second, I think from the side, that one's length and extension, femininity and refinement's the best. I think she's really pretty in the way she pulls together from the side. To compete with the one in front of her, I think she needs to be quite a bit wider and stouter, specifically in her bone work and her skull shape, but really nice from a structure perspective. The young man, Joe, that's in third, I think is a really solid female in terms of her body shape and her structure. I think from the side she pulls together a nice look, and I think she's stouter than the one I had ahead of her. It's just when she's in motion, she's not quite as comfortable, and she's not quite as feminine or attractive in her image. The other two that are kind of rounding us out, I think they both share strengths in terms of being really comfortable in motion. I think they'll be functional long term. Maybe just not quite as stout or highly presented as the others. I also think that the ones ahead just have the advantage of the ground in terms of power. Thank you.
All right, that was our commercial breeding goat pig class 1. Entering the ring next will be our commercial breeding goat pig class 2. Out of class 1, Chloe Pellers was our top purple, and followed by Dalton Shakowski. If anyone's feeling like an afternoon snack, we want to encourage you to stop by the Lancaster County 4-H food stand. This is located at the Horseshoe or Clover Cafe in the Great Star Pavilion in Ag Society Halls. All proceeds from the food stand support our local Lancaster County 4-H programs. Funding examples that show support go towards the state and national contest registration, such as state horse breeding and hippology, Horse Stampede, Premier Animal Science Vet Contest, Companion Animal Challenge Contest, Premier Communication Contest, and Nebraska State Fair Contest. These funds also go to support activity scholarships and college and camp scholarships. You'll find the full 4-H food stand menu in your show program, and we want to thank you in advance for thinking about stopping by and getting some yummy snacks and supporting our local 4-Hers.
got another really good class in our commercial dough show. I think at the top end, this young man's dough is really stout, especially if you study her from either end. I think she's really stout through her skull and through her bone work and her body shape, and I commend her for that. The one that's in second, I think from the side, she pulls together a bit more of a feminine, well-balanced look. I appreciate that about her. With her and the one behind her, I think when you step in behind them, they're just not quite as busted open and powerful as the one that wins. The young lady in third, I think that yours is actually the outlier, the best in this class to the front end of her skeleton. She's really feminine and attractive. I think when she's in motion, she might be the most comfortable. Just from right behind, I didn't think she had quite enough muscle and punch today. Finally, rounding us out, we have another really refined and feminine one. I think that refinement carries all the way throughout, and it might come to her detriment just a bit at the ground and when you step in behind them. But a really good group. Let's give a round of applause for the exhibitors.
All right, we are inviting back our top purples from Class 1 and Class 2 for our Champion Breeding Kid Dough Drive. We have Chloe Cutlers and Dalton Tchaikovsky from Class 1, and Henry Warner and Emma Thompson from Class 2. We'll go ahead and do a first and second call for Commercial Breeding Dough Yearling Class 1. First and second call, Commercial Breeding Dough Yearling Class 1. Well, I want to start off by thanking you guys for bearing with me as I figure out the ribbon system. That's a little bit different than I'm used to and how we do it in Texas, but I do think it's a really cool deal. I just need a second to figure out what I was doing there. I think we've got a really impressive drive of commercial doughs, especially considering the size. I think there's quality females out here. For me, there's 3 of them that I think could all be argued to go Grand Reserve. I think the young ladies directly in front of me pulls together the best look from the side. I think her length of hip and femininity through her front end, in tandem with her still being fairly stout about her skull and wide of her chest, is the best. But if I'm just talking power, the one out of the second class is the most impressive in her feature, and when you step in directly behind them. With that, the one that's in second from the other class, I think her extension and femininity and her comfort in motion is really good. I appreciated that one when she first came out of the gate for that reason. And the second out of the other class, just from the side, I think her body shape and the look she pulled together is really impressive. So I do think it gets close for champion out here between these 2 class winners, but for me, the one out of the class will come next champion. Congratulations to Chloe Cutlers, our Champion Breeding Kid Dough.
Again, I think it's it's really close for reserve, but just when I step in behind the females, the one out of the second class does have just such an advantage in terms of skeletal width, stoutness, a feature, and power, so she'll go ahead and be my reserve. But good job to all these guys. Let's give them a round of applause.
And Henry Warner is your reserve champion breeding kid doe. Next in the ring, we have our commercial breeding doe yearling class 1. And we'll go ahead and do a first and second call for commercial breeding aged doe. First and second call, commercial breeding aged doe.
Well, there's a nice pair of yearling does out here. I think they're pretty different in their strengths and weaknesses. The one I opted to start with, I think she just has the upper hand in terms of stoutness, power, skeletal width, but I still think she handles it in a really attractive and feminine package, which I really appreciate, especially through kind of her skull shape and her chest. I think it's impressive how she can carry that much power and still be really feminine and comfortable in her look from the side. And I followed her up with this dark-headed doe I have in second. I think that one's refinement is really, really impressive, and I think that'll be a benefit to her as she gets into a breeding program. Maybe just today from a stoutness and muscularity perspective, fell short the one in front of her, but still a really good job. Let's give those exhibitors a round of applause.
Chloe Cutlers is your top purple out of that class, followed by Ryan Henry. And they'll be coming back for our champion, reserve champion commercial breeding doe drive, following the commercial breeding aged doe class that is entering the ring right now.
we've got our final class of breeding goats out here, and I think they're both really impressive. The one I opted to start with, I think in terms of her weather making, shape, and stoutness of feature, she just has the upper hand as you study her for either end. But that's not to take anything away from the doe in second, because I think for breeding age females, her freshness and her condition is really remarkable. I think she's a bit more feminine up front and Nico more comfortable in motion. So I think they'll both make really good goes for the young ladies. So let's give them a round of applause.
Piper is your first purple in the commercial breeding age doe class, with Reese receiving second. They're joined by Chloe and Ryan from the previous class for our champion reserve champion commercial breeding doe drive. Scratch that previous comment. We are doing the overall breeding champion drive. We'll go ahead and do a first and second call for lightweight market meat goats. Lightweight first and second call for the market program.
I think we've got a nice group out here in our breeding doe drive, and they're all at different stages of their life, but I think they all bring value and quality to the table. I'm not going to talk them individually like I did in class, but I do just want to say that I think it's impressive how the one out front pulls together such a nice look from the side and still remains really impressive as you study off either end of her skeleton. The one out of the middle division, we kind of talked about her combining those things as well and doing a really good job of staying comfortable and fresh as she has had a little bit more time in the barn. And I think the same goes for the last division, just in terms of talking about a scout group that it was impressive to see them so fresh out here. With that being said, I think it gets closer between the first two divisions for Grand Reserve, but my favorite's the Little Doe.
Congratulations to Chloe Cutlers with her breeding doe kid from class 1 as your champion overall breeding goat. Reserve champion goes to Reserve champion also goes to Chloe Cutlers with her breeding yearling doe out of class 1 from that portion of the program. Moving on to the market portion of our program, and we are in the lightweight class. I apologize for my previous comment. We are now doing the overall breeding champion drive. I've talked about all
four of these a couple times, so I won't go through them again. But I do just want to say a great job to those who showed those today. I think you had a really good group, and this top end's impressive. So good job to all those guys. We'll give them a round of applause, and I can go show you the two I like.
All right, our overall breeding champion results, Chloe Colors with her commercial breeding doe kid from class 1 is your champion overall breeding. And reserve champion also goes to Chloe Colors with her commercial breeding doe yearling from class 1. Now we're moving on to the market portion of our program with our lightweight division. Once they enter the ring, we'll go ahead and do a first and second call for middleweights. Lightweights are entering the ring, and we'll go ahead and do a first and second call for middleweight meat goats. First and second call, middleweight meat goats.
I think this is a great way to start off our market goat show, and the young lady's goat that wins is really impressive. I think when you get your hands on this one, he's so firm and hydrated. Back to his record one, I think it's impressive how he's so square over his edges. I really commend the people who got that one handling so well, because I think they did a great job. Really nice place to start. I thought it was really close between second and third. They went back and forth for me. When I got on top of them or put my hands on them, I think the young man in second goes extra roundness of body and width of chest, just allowed him to support a little bit more shape up high. I also thought he was a nickel more impressive from behind. But as we study him from the side, I think the young lady in third goat does have the upper hand in terms of extension. He's stouter featured, he's a bit more comfortable in motion. Just think he was a bit soft to the touch today. Didn't think he had the same body shape when he got off of him from the 3/4 shot. The one rounding us out is, I think, the different one of the group. I think her extension and balance from the side is all very good. Just her muscularity. For a second, I thought she fell behind the other ones a tad. But good job to all these exhibitors.
Congratulations to Chloe Cutler as your champion lightweight meat goat, and Jackson Roberts, your reserve champion. Entering the ring next will be our middleweight meat goats. And we'll go ahead and do a first and second call for our heavyweight meat goats. First and second call, heavyweight meat goats.
Well, I'm going to leave this class as they came in, because I think when you get these on the rear view and you study them, the one that young lady up front, her goat just has the outright advantage in terms of muscularity, and the story doesn't change change once you get your hands on him. He's the most impressive over his rack and loin, and I think that's because he's the widest chested and the roundest in his body shape. But the goat I had in second, maybe just a nickel cleaner, specifically through its front end when you get off to the side of him. I do think that one also handled with some genuine muscle shape up high. I just didn't think he was quite as expressive or as wide and stout as the one that won. The goat that rounded us out is another one that's really extended through its front end. I think he's fresh, and I think the young lady's doing a great job showing him. It's just when I got right in behind him, I didn't think he had quite enough skeletal width or muscularity to compete with the two ahead, but great class, and good job to those exhibitors.
Congratulations to Mackenzie McCoy, your champion middleweight, and Emma Thompson, your reserve champion for the middleweight division. Next in the ring will be our heavyweights, and then we will do an overall market champion drive.
Well, I think the young lady's goat that comes out here to win the heavyweights is the most impressive on the handle we've had out here so far. His shape up high is so impressive, not only in how expressive it is, but also just the shape and stance it works down his spine. And I think he matches that from the side by really pulling together a proportional look and staying attractive in motion. I think that one's a really nice one to win. The one in second's obviously a different kind. I think that one's extension and look from the side is also really impressive. It's just when you step in behind him or go to handle from a muscularity perspective, I just thought he fell short. But good job to both those exhibitors, and I'll look forward to seeing those back out in the drive.
Congratulations to Chloe Cutler, your champion heavyweight, and Ryan Henry, your reserve champion. They'll be joined by the champion and reserves from lightweight and middleweight right now in our overall market champion drive. We'll go ahead and do a first and second call for born and raised. First and second call, Lancaster County, born and raised. Again, this is your overall market champion drive.
Well, I think the top three out here are really, really nice. I think all of them out here are nice. It just gets competitive out here for Grand and Reserve. To start off, I want to commend all the kids out here for having their goats really in great shape to be out here. I think in terms of handle and height quality, I've been really impressed. To start with the lightweight, we talked about that one in class, just his look from the side, his proportions. I'd be excited to see that one grow. I don't know if just today he's quite as muscular or round in his body shape, but that's one I would be really excited to see down the road. The one we had out of our second class, I think in terms of the fundamentals, he checks all the boxes so well. His roundness of body and his muscularity. I think compared to the ones on either side of him, he's not quite as clean about the front end of his skeleton. He's not quite as attractive in motion. I think a lot of that maybe has to do with just the shape and sculpt to his skull, but I still think that's a really impressive market goat. Rounding us out is our heavyweight, and when I talked about that one in class, the first thing I brought up is his handle, because I was just genuinely impressed by the shape and span that he carries over his rack and loin. I think as you continue to study him from the profile, he pulls together a really proportional look. He's so round in his body shape and powerful from behind. The heavyweight will be your grand, and I'm going to go out and look again before I pick your reserve. I do think it gets really close for reserve because I like different things about both of these. I just think the one out of the first class is better days are to come, so the one out of the middleweight will be a reserve.
Congratulations to Chloe Cutler, your champion overall market meat goat from the heavyweight division, and reserve champion goes to Mackenzie McCoy from the middleweight division. To round out our 2025 Lancaster County Meat Goat Show, we've got our born and raised class that will be entering the ring here in just a few seconds. So if you have not made it ringside yet for born and raised, make sure you make it up here ASAP.
Well, I think this is a really neat class. This is going to be the born and raised. So goats who are born and raised in Lancaster County. I think it's neat. Obviously, my grand and reserve from the show are out here. So it's neat to know that they're were born and raised locally. I think that speaks to the caliber of livestock y'all are raising around here. So give a round of applause to those exhibitors, but also the local breeders who are bringing them here. So good job to all those people.
Congratulations to Chloe Cutler, our champion born and raised, and Mackenzie McCoy, your reserve champion. And that concludes our 2025 Lancaster County Meat Goat Show. We want to thank our judge, Kirsten Hieselmeyer, for being with us today, and she will be back for our sheep show that will start at 3 o'clock. So you've got about half an hour. We'll start the sheep show at 3 p.m.
Thank you for watching the Meat Goat show at the Lancaster County Super Fair.